you noticed how the language of climate change has shifted? Once we spoke about melting glaciers far away abstract. Now we spoke about soil, streets, cycles, and even coins. You hear lines like, by 2040, air will be precious as gold. Water will become more valuable than oil. And then comes another layer that companies, governments, and even ordinary citizens are preparing for a future where nature itself is measured, priced, and tracked. But is that future inevitable, or is it still shaped quietly right now? Let's slow down and separate science from fear. Climate change is no longer only an environmental issue. It is now an economic issue, a governance issue, a behavioral issue. Governments ask, how do we reduce emissions without stopping growth? Companies ask, how do we survive a low carbon future? And societies ask, how do ordinary people fit into this transition? This is where ideas like carbon farming, carbon credits, and even carbon coins come in. India is not just observing the shift. India is experimenting with it. Carbon farming sounds futuristic, but its logic is ancient. It means using natural systems to remove carbon dioxide from atmosphere and store it safely in soil, trees, grasslands, wetlands. Practices include cover cropping, reduced tillage, agroforestry, etc. Science supports this. Healthy soil stores more carbon, retains more water, improves crop resilience. So carbon farming is scientifically valid. But here's the key insight. Science proves possibility, policy decides scale, markets decides value. Carbon credits are climate accounting tools. One carbon credit represents 1 ton of carbon dioxide avoided or removed. They exist because not all the emissions can be cut immediately. Transitions take time. There are two types: compliance markets, which are driven by the governments, and the other one is voluntary markets driven by companies. India has introduced its carbon credit trading scheme to standardize how credits are created and verified. This matters because without verification, emission reductions can be exaggerated. Nature can be double counted. Climate action becomes paperwork. Carbon credits do not replace emission cuts. They work only after real reductions begin. Now, let's talk about Reliance Industries Limited. Reliance is publicly committed to net zero emissions by 2035. Its investments focus on renewable energy, green hydrogen, carbon capture, new energy materials. This aligns with global trends. But here's an important clarification. There is no verified public evidence that Reliance is currently earning major profits by selling carbon credits. The present focus is cutting internal emissions, preparing for future regulation, building low-carbon infrastructure. Carbon credits are the future tool, not today's primary business. Now comes the most misunderstood subject, Vantara. Vantara is a wildlife rescue, conservation and rehabilitation project supported by Reliance Foundation in Jamnagar. Its works focuses on animal care, habitat restoration, conservation infrastructure. What is true? It is a large ecosystem and can absorb carbon. Such projects could qualify for carbon credits in future. Vantara is not currently a registered carbon credit project. There is no evidence of carbon credits being sold from it. So, when people say Vantara is a carbon gold mine, that is speculation, not with proofs, but in future ACTs. Now comes the most interesting change. Climate action is moving beyond corporations. In cities like Delhi, initiatives such as Sundays on Cycle to encourage people to choose cycles over cars. Why does this matter? Because governments are testing a new idea. What if climate action is rewarded, not punished? This is where concepts like carbon points, carbon coins, behavior-linked incentives begin to appear. Cycle more, pollute less, earn recognition, sometimes even benefits too. These are pilot ideas, not full markets, but they reveal something very important. Carbon coins are often misunderstood, as they are money replacing currencies. No. Tradable like gold. No. Ownership of air. No. They are mostly behavioral incentives, awareness tools, policy experiments. Their purpose is simple: to make climate-friendly behavior visible, measurable, and rewarding. They help governments to understand how people respond when sustainability feels personal. Now the big fear. By 2040, air and water will be costly as gold. Let's be precise. There is no scientific model predicting air being traded like gold, oxygen replacing currency. What science support is rising health costs due to pollution, regional water scarcity, higher costs for purification and access. So yes, clean water infrastructure will cost more, but that is not the same as air becoming a global commodity. Fear simplifies us, science out conditions. So maybe the real question is not will the air become gold? Maybe it is this. Will we design a future where clean air remains a right or quietly allow it to become a privilege? Because the moment nature becomes invisible on balance sheets, it stops being protected and starts being negotiated.